Whatever you do, make sure you visit ashkicking.com for your home fragrance, health, and beauty needs. Quality products at a great price. And I got my man Willie Monroe, I should say, on the line. I want to start with you. Now, you've been in the ring with this man, Gennady Golovkin, Willie Monroe. And, you know, I believe outside of Kassim Ouma, because a lot of people didn't get to catch the Kassim Ouma fight because it wasn't telecast out here in the States, a lot of people feel you were kind of the first person to almost give a blueprint on how you need to fight Gennady Golovkin. How did you rate Danny Jacobs' performance this past weekend, and who you thought won the fight?
I think it was a great performance. You know what I mean? You can even say it was a masterful performance. You know, I did an interview with a couple other people, and they asked me, how do I think Danny Jacobs should fight Golovkin? And I said, you got a smart fighter. Not boxing, not smart boxing, not brawl, not smart, but you got a smart fighter. And what I meant by smart fighting is you have to fight him, but you have to be intelligent at the same time while doing You got to know when to brawl, when to move and box. And I don't think Danny missed a beat last night. I thought Danny won.
You thought Danny won? I mean, not breaking it down round by round, but if you could give me a ballpark, how many rounds you think he won by? How close do you think it was?
I mean, I had an 8-4. You know, you could say 7-5, you know, because of the knockdown and everything. But I mean, I had an 8-4. I mean, he was landing a lot more. I mean, he was controlling Golovkin. I mean, he was catching him with big shots. He was, you know, he was landing bigger, you know, before the clinch, and then he would fight out of the clinch. He would, you know, get the better of the exchanges on, you know, on the clinches. I mean, if they attribute it to, you know, the jabs that Golovkin was, you know, landing or barely landing to get closer, Jacob. I mean, you know, I thought this was a fight not just based off one type of punch, but personally, I thought Jacob won.
Yeah.
You know, 8-4 personally in my mind. And I was there. You know, obviously, I would have to watch the fight on TV to get a different texture.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know, how the fight went, you know, so I can see what the fans saw. But being there, I felt like Danny Jacobs won.
Yeah. And Willie, you know, I mean, obviously you did lose the fight against Golovkin, but what I noticed with you, though, Willie, is it seemed to me like you were still a little bit more, and this is not a knock on Danny Jacobs, but you were willing to exchange more, and you only have 6 knockouts, and you were more willing to exchange with Gennady Golovkin, I thought, than Danny Jacobs. I thought Danny Jacobs, he allowed some of the rounds that he won to be closer than they really had to be. I mean, did you kind of see it that way? Not trying to make you compare yourself to him, but do you notice you just engaged a little bit more with Golovkin than Danny Jacobs did?
Yeah, but that's what I mean by smart fighting. You know what I mean? You have to know when to engage. You know,
when not to. Okay.
You know, strictly off of being pissed that I was not down twice. You know what I mean? And it got me some success, but I ultimately ended up getting stopped in the 6th round. So that's why I said you have to smart fighting. Cause, you know, Golovkin is sharp and he's very strong. So I don't think that hurt Danny to do that because he knew when to box and when to bang. And then if he had sit there and tried to bang a little bit more, you know, maybe it could have been an earlier night for him. But I think he did everything right, man. Personally, I didn't see anything wrong with his performance. Not that he could have did more, he could have did less. I felt like he was on point the whole time, and the fight had me on the edge of my seat the whole time. Yeah. And, I mean, first, I think he won, but I understand the politics of boxing. I understand that there's more money in a Golovkin,
Canelo,
Canelo fight now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I understand that you can't, you know, you can't pass up that big money, but then at the same time, you know, at what cost? Why would you take a fair victory from a man just because there's more money on the table down the line, you know? But then again, this boxing game doesn't have to say, I mean, it's politics. You know what I mean? Why do you think they have a red and a blue corner?
Yeah, real talk.
Hey, I have a quick question for you. This Big Milk right here, man. Hey, first of all, I want to give a shout out to you, brother, for taking that fight at the point in your career where I think that you know, that's not a fight I was thinking that you should have taken at that point in your career. But I give you mad props for taking it. Do you think that what you've learned from that fight and since that point that you would take that opportunity to fight him again, and do you think it would be a different outcome if you ever had the opportunity to fight him again?
Willie, you there, Willie?
Yeah, whoever was talking, I could barely hear him. I don't know if
Oh, my
was
bad.
up to the mic or not, but I didn't hear anything he said.
Oh, wow.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll try to.
We'll try to rectify it.
He was basically just asking you, do you think you would fight him if you had a second opportunity? He said he thought you took the fight a little earlier than you had to against Golovkin, and he said, would you take that fight again in the future? Do you think things would be different since you took the fight early in your career against Golovkin?
Oh, most definitely. I mean, that fight was 2 years ago. You know what I mean? And the biggest thing I did was came off of Boxino. And then I defended, you know what I mean, the NADO and NADA against Brian Vera. That was a big one for me. But I had never been on that big of a stage, you know, the main event. And, you know, it was the event, the stress of the event, you know, kick my behind worse than the actual fight, you know. But, I mean, I'm a firm believer in God. I don't think God makes any mistakes, you know what I mean? And I learned a lot from that fight, and it set me up, you know, for the Gabe Rosado fight, because the stress of that event, you know, being called on a 25-day notice to fight a 12-round fight, you know, on the biggest stage, you know what I mean? You guys do the math. That's 3.5 weeks. You know, these guys have, these pay-per-view events, guys have 8 and 10-week training camps. You know, I had to, you know, good thing I live in the gym, but they gave me that fight on a 25-day notice. But going into that fight, I knew, like, it's like, okay, this isn't my first rodeo. I've been to the big stage before. So everything I learned from what I went through on the political side, from being on the B side fighting Golovkin, when I went into the Gabe Rosado fight, it was like, you know, been there, done that. You know what I mean? I've been here before. So, you know, I don't regret it. You know, it's a blessing in disguise because I learned so much from that fight, you know, and that event. But, you know, if I was able to get that fight again in the future, I wouldn't think twice about taking it. You know, I would jump to that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Willie.
Real fighter.
Right on.
Absolutely, Willie. Excuse me. So, Willie, once again, you had a great performance against Gabe Rosado. I want to know, who are you looking for next? I mean, I know you called out some names. Matter of fact, I put the interview up on my channel. But if you could put some names out there, let everybody know who you want next, or who's on your short list right now.
There's a couple different guys, man. I heard Charlo is moving up to 160. You know, I mean, everybody says Willie Monroe, all of his knockouts were at 54. He's not a big puncher at 160. I mean, if that's the case, then it shouldn't be too hard to make a fight. You know what I mean? It shouldn't be nothing to be scared of. I ain't knock nobody out at 160, right? So, you know, Charlo, if he's making his move from 54 up to 60, that would be great. If we could get that sometime in May, or I tried to get I've been asking to get Abin Silva Tuesday. That's the little wrestling guy.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean, I've been trying to get him for 2 years. We were trying to get him before I fought Brian Vera.
Wow.
Is that right?
And he wouldn't fight me.
Interesting.
I've been trying to get him. I tried to get that kid. What's the Ukrainian kid that got stopped by the kid from DC for that WBC eliminator?
Which kid? Which kid?
Is his name Deverchenko? Deverchenko gets fought, right?
Yeah, well, you know what? I'm not sure with that one right there. I'm not sure.
Well, I feel like if they all just, you know, they running through knocking guys out. That's what I'm asking for. After both of those champions, we got turned down. I said, well, y'all knocking everybody out. Y'all Billy badass. Let me get my shot. Let me get a shot at one of you guys. Let me see if y'all can knock me out.
Yeah.
Got turned down. You know what I mean? I've been asking for Billy Joe Saunders. That's who I really want. If I had to ask for number one on my list, that's who I really want. You know, he had the nerve to call me a bum, but then he won't tell people that when they ask him to fight me, he said he'd rather fight Gabe Rosado instead, and then put out against Gabe Rosado. So, I mean, if we can get, Billy Joe Saunders, Charlo, or even I asked for the Polish kid, the undefeated kid, 23-0, with 8 knockouts. Not just selection. I asked, can I get him? Everybody started humming and hawing when I asked, can I get him? I could see if I was out here asking for guys with a 500 record, or guys that we know. I'm out here asking for these undefeated guys with big knockout records.
Yeah,
They
absolutely.
start humming and hawing. So
I mean,
we'll see what happens.
yeah. Speaking of that, and I'm gonna take a call. There's a lot of people on hold right now. See if anybody have any questions for you or any thoughts on the fight. But I also want to ask you before we open the phone lines, Willie, what did you think about Canelo when you called out Canelo and his trainer said we don't want to fight a guy with a style like that? I mean, me personally, I feel for you to be a well-rounded fighter, you should be able to beat every style. And if you have a great trainer, you should, you know, he should be teaching you how to cut off the ring, all that kind of stuff. I mean, what did you think about them saying that?
I mean, that's their ploy to get out of a tough fight. You know, I mean, you can't beat somebody that you feel like that style is difficult for you. You're gonna downplay it, and you know, it's easy to swindle the fans. So if you tell the fans, "Oh, he's boring, he's this, I don't like him, I don't like this style. We want somebody we can engage with." The fans say, "Yeah, you're right," but the fans can read between the lines and say, "Wait a minute, this guy wants somebody that's just gonna stand in front of him. That's gonna be a punching bag all day." Okay, we see what he wants. He wants an easy win.
Mm-hmm.
Boxing is probably the most athletic sport. Why can't I use my legs? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
With Dave Rosado, I didn't even move. All the fans said, "Oh, he's just going to move and box. He's just going to move and box." I stood in front of this dude for 10 seconds at a time, daring him to hit me, and he wouldn't swing. We're talking about the guy who walked through the night of Golovkin punches and was fighting back. We're talking about a guy who was going back and forth with David Lemieux, who was knocking everybody out. We're talking about a guy who walked through firepower and was up on some of the judges' scorecards when he fought Chris Tucker, who's a big knockout fighter. So here we have a Willie Monroe, little old 5'10", 158 pounds, no knockout Willie Monroe, and you want pressure.
But see,
I'm standing dead in front of you, daring you to hit me.
yeah, but see, Willie, I mean, it's still hypocritical though, because we've seen Canelo move around in the ring against certain opponents. You know, he said, matter of fact, going into the Angulo fight, he said, I'm going to have to use foot movement in this ring because the guy is aggressive. He's this, so I'm going to have to box him and be smart. I remember when he fought Leonardo Tyner. He moved around the ring more than you moved around the ring against Gabe Rosado. So it's not really, you know, adding up when you really think about it.
You want me to tell you what it really is?
Huh? Go ahead. Speak the truth, man.
I'm black.
No.
You say...
I hadn't noticed.
You say...
Anything I do in the ring can and will be used against me.
You say, hey, are you saying, are you saying...
If I sit there and banged out, and took punches to the face all day, I'm a stupid bum.
Yeah.
If I make guys miss, I'm scared.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I got to stand there. I mean, like, look, man, I got a college degree. I graduated from my Del Carnegie course this Wednesday, and I'm going back to another degree. Look, I don't put in all this hard work and become educated to stand in the middle of a ring and let a guy beat my brains out that I worked so hard to get, just so some fans can say he's a warrior.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, who's paying money to help Gerald McClellan? If take some of these casual fans and say, you know who Gerald McClellan is, they'll scratch their damn head. They don't know who Gerald McClellan is.
Right.
They don't know who Whitaker is. They don't know who Melvin Taylor is. These are guys who put their life on the line, and
Terry
now
Norris.
they're suffering from it. You don't see none of these fans donating $10 to a GoFundMe to help them. If you want me to fight like that.
That's real talk. That's and once again, I mean, we need more people, especially boxers. I mean, you know, we can say it, you know, the media, the real new media, we could talk about the double standards, but I think it's more important for boxers like yourself to acknowledge the double standards that exist in the sport of boxing. And you're right, we know what time it is. Like you said, when black fighters on the coincidental list, when they stand there, go toe to toe, if they get hit, then, you know, they said, oh, look, but his defense is suspect. He ain't got the best defense. But when they move around in boxing, they say it's running. So we just need more people to address what is very obvious in the sport.
It's all about knowing when to box.
Of course. Yeah.
For example, when Floyd fought Canelo, he didn't just run. He boxed him and he fought him. It's knowing when to box and when to bang. I do believe that. I didn't watch the fight last night. I couldn't watch it. You know, I like Danny.
Oh, man. You missed that Miss Boxing, baby?
I didn't watch it.
Oh, man. You got to watch that.
You missed the masterpiece.
Yeah.
No, but listen. But I ordered the fight, and my sons were coming in the room, and they were telling me, "Mom, he's doing good. He got dropped." So when I came out and watched the replay, I saw the knockdown. To me, it was more of a push. He was kind of off balance. But I do feel that going into that fight, he probably had to have the mentality that Spencer's going to have going to London. I have to knock him out, because if I don't, I'm not going to get the decision. He had to knock him out to win. That's just the politics of boxing. They want that Triple G and Canelo fight. So you know how you stop that? You knock him out. They ran to Holyfield and Tyson. They wanted Douglas and Tyson. They wanted Tyson and Holyfield. So what did Douglas do? He stopped him. You have to knock the person out to guarantee your fight. And it's a shame, but that's boxing. And that's what it was. It was not going to give him no decision.
Oh, they definitely
will. You know what it's like? It's like the Felix Sturm and Oscar De La Hoya fight, too.
Exactly.
How there was the Bernard Hopkins and Oscar De La Hoya fight. And we all know Felix Sturm beat the brakes off Oscar, but, you know.
Time out, though. She went even better. Trinidad and B-Hop, they had already made up the shit with Trinidad's name on it. So what did B-Hop go in there and do? He stopped him. You have to make it look. I'm going to derail your whole plan. And their plan is to have Triple G and Canelo probably by the fall. So I knew a decision they were not going to give him. I don't care how close that fight was. He had to either drop him a few times or stop him.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I do believe he fought a great fight from what, the clips and shit I saw. One thing I think his trainer told him that I kind of didn't like a little bit was I don't want you to engage at all. I do feel
we sat here, hey, Dante and I were watching it.
But at the end of the day,
I don't mean to
I think he had Triple G a little gunshot, too.
He did.
Because Triple G usually is known for working the body. He didn't even work his body.
Not at all.
I think he was afraid of getting countered. Huh?
He was afraid of getting countered. He was wary of the counter.
That's what it was.
I see that had Danny stepped to him for even a couple more rounds, he either would put him on the canvas, because he punched Dicky Carter's. Listen, their knockout ratio is not much of a difference. It's not much of a difference. I feel that had he stepped to him just a little bit more, he probably could have got him out of there.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. I totally agree. But hey, like I said, we had these cats on hold for a long time. Before I let Willie Monroe go, I want to take a call and see what what they got on their minds right now. So let's take a call from the callers right now. All right, so we got 951. What's your name? Where you calling from, fam?
Ed from Cali.
What's going on, man? What's on your mind, Ed?
Hey, just a quick question for Willie Monroe. Well, I had the same scorecard as you as well. I had it 8-4, and with the knockdown counted, I had it 7-5. But I guess my question would be what the relationship between Al Heyman and HBO would be now, since he actually let that fight happen and Danny Jacobs kind of got, I wouldn't say robbed, because we all knew what was going to happen, but basically cheated out of that fight.
You asked me what would Al mean relationship be?
I guess he was asking what kind of relationship. You wanted to know what kind of relationship they have, K2 Promotions has with Al Heyman. Is that what you were asking?
No, I'm asking, do you think that Al Heyman will put his fighter back in there with an HBO card again, since that happened to Danny Jacobs?
I think it depends on the situation. I don't think there's one thing that's going to stop Al from allowing his fighters to flourish and make money. You know what I mean? I don't think it's like one of those types of things. Al has proven himself to be a very smart, if not the smartest businessman in boxing to me. I don't think he would, do something like that. But I think he'll be a little more watchful of different things with that happening. And but I think he'll make sure his fighters have, a better chance, especially going in on the B side. I wouldn't know. That's just my opinion from the work that I've seen Al do. I'm not signing to Al. You know what I mean? That's not who I'm with. So. Wish it was, but that's not who I'm with. So
I just believe that going into that fight, that even if you look on ESPN and Dan Raphael was updating the score on ESPN, because I was watching it on the British
telecast.
The British broadcast, and they were like, "Oh man, this is an upset. This is the biggest upset since Douglas and Tyson."
Wow!
And they had it for Jacobs. They had it for Jacobs by 2 rounds. So I'm looking at them, and then I'm checking my phone, and I'm seeing Dan Raphael. He's giving rounds to Gennady Golovkin that
Dan Raphael.
That basically the rounds that the British broadcasters are giving Danny Jacobs, and I'm like, this is like a conspiracy theorist. I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist, but this was like a conspiracy. Like they basically was just going to give this fight to Gennady Golovkin.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't matter if Danny Jacobs went in there and pulled a Floyd Mayweather. They was going to find some type of way to give Gennady Golovkin that fight.
Yeah,
that's just like what Muslima just alluded to. You know what I mean? Like it seems like you got a halfway killer guy to get his hand in the car. It's not, you know what I mean? If you're not the favorite, because they're already looking down the road. You know, and you, I mean, it's sad. It's really sad, but that's just the way boxing is right now, man.
That's the way boxing is, man.
You as a fan, I'm glad you noticed that. I wish these other fans would notice that. You know what I mean? And put some heat on these people, because at the end of the day, when the fight is over, people that have to deal with it is the fighter. What I'm saying, not promoters.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not the commentators, not the network. It's the fighters that have to deal with it. And it's sad that we put in all of this work to get here and be lied to and have stuff taken from us, and then to have the fans say, you know, F you, you're not that good anyway. You know what I mean? So, like, the fighters have to deal with the bad end of the stick, no matter which way it goes. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's why you gotta have a big. You gotta be strong. You gotta be tough. It's boxing. It's been like this for years. It's the country's territory.
Absolutely.
It is what it is.
Absolutely, man.
And we're fans. We're never satisfied. You're always gonna talk shit.
Right?
And Willie,
That's what it is.
And Willie, before I let you go, man, my last question, and then you could, tell us whatever else is on your mind before we let you go. But I wanted to ask you, so how do you think Golovkin fares with the Jamal Charlos, the Canelo Alvarez's, the Kazitses, all the best fighters at middleweight and at super middleweight? How does he fare off with some of them guys?
It's probably we can kill Coach says, but Charlo, I think he can take a couple fights at middleweight. And, you know, it's only a 6-pound difference, but he's a big junior middle. But myself too, I'm a big junior middle, or a small middle, however you want to say it. It's both the same thing. And you got to be a big middleweight and a strong middleweight to be able to deal with Golovkin. I got to give Golovkin props, but people don't realize is it's not just his power, man. He's very accurate.
Yeah.
And, they look at his power and say, oh, this guy is like, he's skillfully awkward. You know what I mean? And he's very accurate, so it makes it difficult with someone like him. So if Charlo is thinking about Gennady Golovkin, he could definitely take some other fights at middleweight and acclimate to that weight. You know what I mean? Because that was one of my mistakes. Jumping up from junior middleweight, fighting everybody in boxino, and going straight for the freaking top dog at middleweight. You know what I mean? And I found out real quick that middleweight power in the top.
Wow, that's a great acknowledgement, man. That's really good on your part. Very classy.
Yeah, man. Hey, man, well, I don't want to hold you up on this Sunday, Willie Monroe, so I thank you for your time, man. Anything else you want to say to the fans before we let you go, family?
God bless, man. Thanks a lot for calling me, career, Willie Monroe. And thank you guys for having me.
All right, man.
Bye, Willie.
All right, man. Take care, man. I want to get you back on when you get your next fight, man. Take care.
Absolutely. God bless, man.
God bless.
All right. All right, guys. So that was Willie Monroe. My man, he was kind enough to take some time out to give his thoughts on Golovkin's performance and Danny Jacobs' performance this past weekend. So let's really get into it. Once again, I thank everyone for holding online right now. We're going to take another call in a minute. But my man Kirk Jackson, since we ain't heard from you in a minute, I want to get your thoughts on this fight. What was your reaction? How did you have the fight scored? And just go ahead and give us your summation, man.